It's Melissa.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I am great. How are you, Haley?
I am doing amazing. Thank you. I am just so honored and thrilled to have you here and speaking for this. And I can't wait to hear more about what you are going to speak about today. So, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And listening to her before me was really great because it kind of segues. It's nice to see how women build each other up, and what she just taught were amazing tips. So I'm kind of going to go along with that. So
Awesome.
today, what I'm going to talk about are the 6 steps to self-esteem and empowerment. And I am putting a timer on just in case I try to overtalk. But I want to talk to you ladies about things that make us feel like shit every day. Society wants to make us feel fat. Abusive partners affect our sense of self worth. We have got being a parent, right? And there's so much pressure. You want to be a good parent, you want to raise these amazing people to be productive members of society. And of course, we're dealing with all of the past trauma that we've been through, all of the things that we've had to endure, suffer, and get over to be able to be who we are today. And then add this past year, and it's hard, right? It's really hard. And if you're in this group, you're most likely an entrepreneur. So you're adding on that extra, I've got to get it done. I've got to get it done for myself while you're dealing with everything else. So what happens is we take this huge hit to our self-esteem, confidence, and self-worth. And the problem is those are the foundations of success. Because if you don't feel good about yourself, you're never going to feel like you're worthy to succeed. And that's absolutely unacceptable because you are so worthy. So I'm going to jump into the steps and we're going to talk about why they're so important. And the first one is, and I'll tell you, I have an acronym. I wrote a book about this. So this is the acronym. It's ATTACK. And the first one is authenticity. Authenticity is the biggest step because it is the hardest, right? It's vulnerability and being uncomfortable with things about yourself that you might not be open about. Authenticity is something that I just started maybe 7 years ago. Quick story. Every one of these steps has a quick story. So this quick story is I lived in Atlanta and I'm in Maine right now and I can't wait to get back to Atlanta, but I will tell you, I have never met a larger community of people that aren't what they seem. People portray themselves as what they're not, and everything is fancy and shiny and pretty and expensive looking. And when I got there, I felt like I had to do the same thing to fit in, right? So I bought the nice car and I dressed well, and my heels went from 3 inches to 4 inches so that I would fit in. Now, the problem is I was attracting people to me that weren't really like me. And it's really hard to be happy when you feel like you're not able to be yourself. So I made a decision that it was time for my vibe to attract my tribe. And I started being the real me. And granted, what I was doing at the time afforded a lifestyle of still having that car, right, and being able to wear nice shoes. But I started letting people see who I was. I would dress more like I like with a great top and yoga pants. I would use language I normally use with people that I love, and that is I curse, and that's just who I am as a person. So, what I found is the more I was honest about who I was, and what I represented, the people that were coming into my life loved me for exactly that. And what a great reward that was. What a huge boost to my confidence, right? Because now all these people I think are amazing think I'm amazing. So authenticity is the number one thing to get started. So one of the ways to start with that is to think about 3 traits that you're currently hiding from people. What are 3 things that you have about you that you think maybe wouldn't be accepted and you're hiding them? And figure out how you can start working those things in. because you'll be amazed at how many other people have those same traits that might be hiding theirs. And when you open up yourself to your realness, you're allowing them to do the same thing. So as you heal, they heal. The second thing is thankfulness. And this isn't that toxic positivity. You have to be thankful, grateful, blessed. No, I think that's all kind of bullshit. Thankfulness is about just understanding that where you are is where you're supposed to be. The journey brought you here for a reason, and you're still here. When I moved to Atlanta, like I just mentioned, years ago, it was back in 2012, and I moved down with my husband and my son. And 5 days after we got there, my husband died, completely unexpectedly from asthma. It completely destroyed me. My whole future was gone, right? So once I made it through the hardest part of that, I went through multiple years of just really being quite shattered. But then I started to think about the things that I still have. And I still had my son. And I still had my breath because he died in the morning. So he wasn't allowed that breath. I still have my breath. I still have my heartbeat, and I still have opportunity. Does this mean that I'm happy every day? Nope. Does this mean that I don't cry regularly? Nope. Does this mean that I don't have an occasional pity party for myself? Nope. What I'm saying is, when something happens or when it feels like things are just going wrong over and over and over again, go through it, feel it, have your pity party, grab a snack, but don't stay there. You've got to get past that part. And I'm not saying this about little things. I mean, big things. Obviously losing my husband was big shit. It was huge and it was years. But find the people that love you in your authenticity and let them help you find the things to be grateful and thankful for. The next is trust. This isn't trust necessarily in other people, but trust in yourself. So when we don't feel good about ourselves, we don't feel like we're making the right decisions all the time, right? Do you find yourself as a woman saying, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? We ask our friends, our family members before we make decisions. Trust is huge. And a lot of women, I think it's like 25%, and I'm one of them, were sexually abused as children. And it's usually by somebody that knows you or is family. So you're shown that you're not valuable by the people who are responsible for making you feel valuable. So now you don't know what you can trust, what's real, what's not real. And as you get older, that becomes something that impacts all of your future relationships, whether they're work relationships, partner relationships, the relationship with yourself. So now, how do I make a decision on my own? So this is a hard thing to do, but there are 3 very finite steps you can take to start trusting yourself and your own decisions. 3 things. The first one, listen to your heart. So when you're thinking about something, you don't know how to make a decision, your heart is going to tell you what you desire. It's going to tell you what you really want. Listen to that. It's important. The second is to listen to your gut. Your gut is your sixth sense. And with women, it is so important. That is literally a thing for us. We know when something's off, right? We know when something's going to happen. Have you ever been somewhere and something tells you don't leave yet? It's don't leave. And you're just like, why do I feel like I can't leave right now? Well, I'll just wait a few more minutes. And then you leave and you drive past an accident. That's your gut. Your gut is your survival skill, and it will always try to keep you safe. The third thing is your head. So you take the answers your heart gave you and the answers that your gut gave you, and you kind of mix them all up in a soup bowl and have your head look at it, because we've learned as we've grown up what's right, what's wrong, what's really a good decision and what isn't. We have that power to make that decision if we just take the time. So the next big decision that you have to make, don't involve a bunch of other people. If you have one trusted person, which I have like my best friend and sometimes my husband, run it by them some, but make the decision yourself because you can do it. You are absolutely able to trust yourself. And once you start to learn to trust yourself more, it'll be easier to figure out who you can and can't trust out there. The next one is acceptance. So as you guys can see, I have delightfully juicy cheeks. I am a fat girl. And the thing about being a fat girl is you are shamed for it your whole life. As a child, as a middle-aged woman, I assume as I'm older maybe, I just don't care anymore. Like, you have to understand who you are and what you are meant to be. You don't have to be in love with how you look right now. Some people are not comfortable being overweight or having gray hair, or there's so many things that make us uncomfortable about ourselves. But you need to accept who you are as you are because you're amazing. And if it's something you can change slowly, then absolutely do that. But in that time frame, understand you're not just your hair, you're not just your body weight, your waist size, you're not just your eye color, and you're not, especially right now, I tear up about this because in a mixed relationship. So you're not just your skin color. You are fucking amazing just the way you are. And accepting yourself that way and then deciding to make changes, that's up to you. I actually have a few steps for that too. Bear with me for just a second. I got emotional because I get emotional when I talk about that part. So one of the things that you can do is make a list of what you feel like is keeping you from loving yourself, whatever that is. Make the list and say, is this something I can change? And if it's not something you can change, force yourself to make a list of why that is such an important thing about you. And then you'll find it's actually one of your strengths. The next thing is competition. We are so competitive as entrepreneurs and women. It's just who we are. It's how a lot of us are successful, but it is also a huge distraction. The only person that you should be competing with is the person that you see when you wake up in the morning. The person that you're looking at thinking, why haven't I gotten there yet? And I have done this in the past year, especially, when everything kind of went to heck, I looked at other women like, how are you making this happen? How are you doing this? And I compared my beginning to their middle. It's natural. But sit in it for a second and then get it together. And remember, the only person you have to beat is the one you were yesterday, last week, last year, and set goals around who she was. That's healthy. The last step is knowing when to say no. This is a big one for me because when I was growing up, especially as the fat girl, I felt like I had to please everyone. I wanted to make everybody happy. So if somebody needed something from me, I was, yes, yes, oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely. What I was doing was I was showing myself that I wasn't worthy of my time. Because time is the most expensive thing we have, right? Because we spend it and we never get it back. So every yes you give, you're giving your time, your most valuable resource. We do it as women because it's who we are. It's also a kick in the self-esteem. It is such a downer to your own empowerment to be saying yes all the time when you want to say no. So I'm going to go through some of the things that you can ask yourself when somebody asks you for help, or if you could do something that you're questioning if you really, do I really want to do this? Am I saying yes because I want to? The first question is it going to bring you joy? Will you get joy from doing this? Maybe yes, maybe no. Factor that into your answer. The second is, do I have the time? Because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we learn, we're these gorgeous swans on the water, and underneath we're like, and people can't see that, but you know how much you're paddling. And if you don't have time to help, you can't give them 110% anyway. So just say no. The next thing is energy. Especially now, a lot of us are struggling mentally and emotionally. Do you have the energy to help this person? Do you have the energy to give them what they need and do it in a way that it is the quality that you would want to give? And if you don't, just say no. Just say no. The next is impact. So let's say it's not really going to bring you joy per se, and you don't really have the time and you're lacking in energy, but you're going to make an impact. Impact will bring you joy. Impact will make time worthwhile, and impact will help feed your energy. So if it's going to make an impact, just say yes. The next is your moral compass. Never. This doesn't even require an explanation or an analogy. If it's against your moral compass, just say no. There's never a time that you should ever have to compromise your core being to help somebody else. Another one is, will it hurt you, a family member, or embarrass a family member, embarrass you? Is it something that you wouldn't want heard, seen, known that you did 5 years down the road? Would it be a problem if your kids found out about it? If you answer yes to any of those questions, go back up to the top of the list and go back down, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to move forward with a yes. It's important to make sure that you do things that make you happy. I know that's such a stupid little cliche. You know that saying, do what makes you happy, do more of what makes you happy. I'm going to say, do more of what makes you happy to keep you from doing the things that you feel are obligations. And I don't mean things like, cooking dinner or the laundry. I have just understood that those obligations, when I got married and I had children, they're on me, and it's okay. But the other obligations that you feel you have, they're not really. That's just someone else putting pressure on you. And knowing when to say no is going to help you take your power back. So I want to end, I just have another couple minutes left, on how I look at women. Some of you may have heard of the Japanese art of Kinsugi. Kinsugi is when a valuable piece of pottery or glass is broken, and they take that piece and then they put it back together with melted gold. So what was once broke and is now more beautiful. And that's you. We have all been broken. We have all been touched by at least one of the injustices that happen to women. And if you could just sit back and think of the things that broke you, made you who you are. They made you more empathetic. They made you more understanding. They made you more loving. They made you more able to feel. And just imagine yourself being filled up with that gold, because it is those things. It's like your own, like a lampshade. The lampshades that are made with stained glass? That's you. All of your breaks are filled with gold, and when the light hits you, you are absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much for the time that you guys have given me. And I know I'm a couple minutes early, but if Haley has a question or I can answer.
That was just beautiful. Yeah, broken
Yay.
but beautiful. It's such a thing. Thank you for sharing with us today. It's an
Oh, you're
honor to
welcome.
have you here. I really appreciate it.
Me too. I appreciate being able to come on. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Hey, and it's Taco Tuesday.
It is May the
So,
4th as well.
and yes, may the 4th be with you for Taco Tuesday.
Exactly.
Right.
And tomorrow
And
is Cinco de Drinko.
if you stay up till midnight, you can do Cinco de Mayo. So there you go.
Absolutely. Sounds like this week is going to be one long party.
Yes, I'm all for it. I need it.